Support for the Lancast is provided by Winey Way Books and Pennsylvania College of Art and Design.
Welcome to the Lancast. I'm David Moulton.
And I'm Keith Lesser. On this episode of the podcast, we spoke with YouTube content creator and podcaster Shawn V Martin.
We speak with Shawn about the different content he creates for YouTube.
It was originally designed as a way to talk to my parents about the things that I constantly reminded them, like to check out, like Netflix. Like, why don't you have a Netflix subscription? You're always going to Blockbuster and wasting all that money. Why don't you pay this? And they, would forget. So I decided to put this show together that was like, here's Netflix, here's this funny clip that you missed on the internet, blah, 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 Mom and Dad, are you laughing yet? And
and then they forgot to watch the show, right?
and then they became my biggest fans, and I love them, and I'm sure they're going to listen to this and be very proud of me. My parents are my biggest supporters. I love them.
Also, because somebody didn't email me a link or tell me who the guest was or what they did, I was pretty much in the dark on this episode, so let's just start the episode already.
Yeah, enjoy the conversation.
Oh, shut up, David. This week on the podcast, I would like to introduce our guest, but unfortunately, David didn't send me any information on the guest, so I don't know who it is. So, would you care to introduce yourself, guest?
Hi, I'm Shawn V Martin. What do you want to know?
Today, at the last minute.
Yes, while I was at work, working very hard, and then came home, and I have 4 children, so it's very hard to get on the computer and look at that information. Perhaps maybe a couple days ahead of time would work. Dave, id.
Learn my lesson.
I should have submitted a resume for you to forward.
Just a name and maybe what you do would have worked.
So I could make something up. I wrote a book.
Oh, really?
I'm an established novelist now.
Wow. What book did you write? The Oath? Because I see.
Yeah, we should have a guest come on and totally BS the whole show, and then release it and see what happens when people try and research it.
All the fact checkers out there.
Yeah.
Just make stuff up.
Well, Shawn is a video producer for YouTube. Well, I don't know how you want to say it, but he's his partner.
I wish I was a video producer for YouTube. Yeah, then I'd be made.
It's probably what I should say. So tell us a little bit about your show.
Okay. I do a show called 5 Things. That is my main feature, the main feature of my channel. It was originally designed as a way to talk to my parents about the things that I constantly reminded them, like to check out, like Netflix. Like, why don't you have a Netflix subscription? You're always going to Blockbuster and wasting all that money. Why don't you pay this? And they, would forget. So I decided to put this show together that was like, here's Netflix. Here's this funny clip that you missed on the internet, blah, blah, blah. Mom and Dad, are you laughing yet? And
then they forgot to watch the show, right?
And then they became my biggest fans, and I love them, and I'm sure they're going to listen to this and be very proud of me. My parents are my biggest supporters. I love them. But very quickly, it wasn't even the first episode. As soon as I posted it, I had friends who were like, you should be doing this. Why aren't you do this every week? Why aren't you doing this? You're funny. And so now it has turned into a very complicated affair where every week I spend an entire day shooting, editing, producing, cutting a video that ends up being about 6 or 7 minutes long after about 6 or 7 hours of work.
Wow. So it's like an hour per minute.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy how much. Now, there are different levels to the 5 Things show. You have added characters, but you only have 2 actual actors. It's you and your wife.
Yeah.
Alisha, right?
We live in an apartment in Lancaster City. We have 2 cats as well, so I guess we should count them as warm bodies in the apartment. But I at one point, I think it was around episode 12 or something, obviously I invented a clone machine, and it was in my closet, and I made a clone so that he could help me with the show. And then a little while later, he made a clone of himself, so that clone is kind of stupid. So now I have Prime, who's the antagonist and kind of mean one, and then Delta, who's the dumb follower, and we all try and get along in the same house. There is also a clone for my wife, but we frequently forget about her, and she only shows up from time to time.
What was her reasoning for cloning herself?
Actually, Prime created her as a potential girlfriend, but that never really went anywhere because he's not very good with the ladies.
But you are.
Well, obviously, I'm married.
Yeah.
I did something right.
Point taken.
I hope.
Point taken.
I feel like you guys are mocking me right now. You're both married.
We are. We are.
I had no idea, but now I will gang up on you. Sure.
I mean, there's always geek love.
There's always geek love, right?
Do you have a script that you write up for these videos, or do you just kind of wing it, or
It
do you give your wife stuff to say, or do you let her say what she wants?
When she's, as often as I can, I get her in the episodes because it's always more fun to work on it with someone else. And, I will typically write some kind of an outline and write a line that is the general idea of what I mean. But then when I'm filming, when I'm doing it, I'll do like three different readings, 3 different takes. Maybe I'll change something. And usually when I change something, that ends up being the line that I end up using because I thought of it on the spot and that's the good one. My wife, I usually have no idea what she's going to do, and she normally does something hilarious. So I can usually count on her to do something really funny. We shot an episode where we talked about Downton Abbey in the intro.
Oh no!
And at the point where I wanted to cut it, just so happened she had just said, "Thomas is such a jerk," and it was like the perfect cutting point. Just big laugh going right into the intro, and totally unscripted. I had no idea she was going to spat that out. It was great.
Does your wife have a background in any kind of video?
No.
Okay.
She's just a naturally funny person.
Well, how about you? What kind of background did you come into this with? I mean, obviously you had to have some sort of knowledge to know how to do this. You had the equipment, but where did you get up the gumption to stand in front of the camera and talk?
I went to Millersville University, right down the street, and for 3.5 years, 7 semesters, I hosted a radio show on WIXQ. And before that, I don't think I had any kind of outgoing personality. I don't think I had an outgoing personality before that. Like, I left high school still kind of in my shell, went into college, and somewhere in the radio, I found this, like, loud, boisterous, energetic person that I didn't know existed. And my first show was 5 to 7 in the morning. I don't even remember which day it was, but like no one was listening. And I had to like get my caffeine going and feel like I was actually accomplishing something. Cause when I listened to some of the shows on that station, they're bad. They're the worst college radio that there is. So I wanted to do something that I felt good about. And, by the time I left, there were people who, like, I knew people were listening to my show, like, every week, because they wanted to hear what I was going to do. Because at WXQ, free format, you don't have to play commercial radio. So I would play whatever I wanted to play, and I would have a theme every week. I would do, like, there was one week that I did all country music because I played one country song and someone complained, and I was like, "You're going to complain? I'm going to do a whole 3-hour block."
Wow. So when you say by loud and boisterous, what you mean is people were like, "Wow, he was such a nice boy. Now he's just annoying."
Right. No, I had all that. I had all
you
that
complain
stuff.
to him, and he just like rubs it in your face.
It's just that all that stuff was going on behind my screen, and now I was finally letting it out and being the energetic person that I actually was. And it's only developed from there. It's kind of, I look at older videos of mine and I see that I'm even more timid than I am now. And, it's just, I think, part of it is just acting for the camera. Like it's like acting in a theater. You need to be big and energetic and pop, and people recognize that and latch onto it.
So we've talked about 5 things, but you do so much more with your channel. You've got gaming videos and something called Professor Martin, which, if you've made professor level, then
he did go to college.
I don't know. Yeah.
He did go to college.
He did.
He did go to college.
Are you a professor?
Yeah.
I bet you are.
I actually taught one semester at Thaddeus Stevens Tech School.
Yeah,
There you go. I
Professor.
guess you are a professor.
So there we go.
What'd you teach?
I taught English.
Really?
Yep, composition and one other class that I don't remember the title of.
Do you like how surprised I said that? Like, really?
No, my degree is in English education. So
Oh, cool.
natural flow.
Very cool. So
I took a class in English once.
One class?
Yeah, one class. I still haven't mastered it.
In-
Did you read
in
Charles
elementary
Dickens?
I only remember a few words, all the swear words and stuff.
So tell us about the other shows.
I've got actually the way that I propelled myself to a huge subscriber base is I got invested in a PC video game called Minecraft, which is a very creative game. It's basically Legos with some like survival elements over it. So like you build with all these blocks and stuff, and at the same time you have to fight bad guys. And it's turned into this incredible community endeavor. So the people who make videos on YouTube are actually selling copies of the game pretty much because so many millions, literally millions of people are watching these videos on YouTube that it's just this giant effort to support the game. And, I made a couple videos that kind of took off, and then I made a 5 Things episode in Minecraft, which, some much bigger YouTuber than me liked. And I think that single, that one attention detail right there earned me about 1,000 subscribers. And from there, it's just been,
Wow.
I'm climbing a mountain.
Minecraft. Sorry, I step back because I'm completely illiterate to I'm illiterate to most.
I don't want
things,
to.
He already said he doesn't know English.
Yeah, you're doing pretty good.
Queso. What was I saying? You interrupted me.
Minecraft.
So, what is Minecraft? Because I have no clue what Minecraft is, and when you say you make a video in Minecraft, is it like? Can you explain that a little bit?
Okay. I'll just explain the series that I have going right now. Like, I've done lots of different things in Minecraft. I run a server. Like, people can play on one server all together.
Okay.
So me and my friend host a server, and people come on. We have hundreds of people who are like, they have the password to get on, and they'll come on, and we have like towns, and they'll go out fighting expeditions and go mining for like, treasures and stuff. But the video series that I'm doing on my channel is Minecraft has a single player mode called hardcore mode that if you die one time, the game deletes your world.
Wow.
It gives you one life. And I'm currently on the 25th episode, and each episode is about 20 minutes of my life. I haven't died yet. Mm-hmm. I just beat, quote, the end of the game, which is a silly end to the game. There is no end to the game, so they put a silly end in the game, which is challenging, but it didn't defeat me.
Right.
I took it on.
Well, you're a professor, so.
I studied for this.
You studied English so that you could play video games.
And I can't really explain why so many people find watching.
So it's a video of what you would see.
Yeah,
on your screen.
you're seeing the first person view
okay.
of me playing the game.
Okay.
And basically, you have to be a good commentator in order for these videos to work well. And I've seen really bad ones, but I've seen really great ones, and I can't explain why I would watch one person play a video game that I could be playing for hours, but I've done it.
Well, yeah, you got there.
For some reason, it can be very interesting to watch someone else play a game. Maybe it's just the way they play, or they're funny, or they're good at it, or whatever.
So I have to ask, at this many episodes in, and you've quote unquote beaten the game, I mean, is it really that challenging to stay alive?
No, it's not.
So I don't understand the thrill.
I have complained about the challenge of the game, and actually it has earned me some hate on my channel because the fans of the game are so fanatic about it that they don't want to say anything. Easy. They don't want to say anything bad about it. And I've voiced my criticisms in the past, and so has my podcasting partner, Carter, who we'll get to later. And we caught some real flack for that. But I maintain that the game is not as good as it could be simply because it's not very challenging.
Now, what about Professor Martin episodes?
Professor Martin was a series that I started after dozens or hundreds of people had contacted me asking me how I did this, or how I shot that, or what I edited to do this, or all these questions that are just, some of them are the most basic things, lighting questions. I've got 3 studio lights that I use to light my house when I'm doing 5 Things, because if I'm going to do special effects, you need to have good lighting. And I must have had 20 different questions that were just what do you light your show with? So I started making Professor Martin's YouTube School, which I think is up to a dozen or 13 episodes, and each one just focuses on an aspect of making either a good video or maintaining your audience or using the methods that are available through YouTube, like tags and subscribing, and like using that to maintain your audience and capture new audience members and stuff. And I've had tons of people thank me for like what I've done for their channel because it's helping them promote their brand. And I don't see that many people on YouTube that seem that ready to help other people get started. And I wanted to fulfill that role. And since I have a little bit of experience teaching, I felt like I was pretty good at it.
I want to know more about the clones, because that seems like a really popular device to use right now. Did you think about that at all when you went into it, or was it still kind of a new thing? Or?
I stole it very much from Wheezy Waiter. Wheezy Waiter is the reason I started making YouTube videos. I saw a video one time of his that he said, like, stop thinking about making videos if you want to make videos and just make one. Like, you are stopping yourself from making a video. If you want to do it, just make it. So that was the day I made 5 Things, the very first one. And he has clones, like his clones are so much better than mine could ever be. And he has hundreds of them. He just keeps going through them and they die and he throws them into alligator pits and they get lost and never come back. And I make jokes constantly about how I stole it from Wheezy Waiter. And every time someone calls me out on it, I point them to an episode of the show where he quoted himself as saying, nothing is original. No idea is original, and everyone has clones, and it's not a big deal.
Yeah, there's Venture Brothers, and that's all the one I can think
What are you
of.
talking about?
It's a show I watch, Venture Brothers. They're all clones. The kids. Never mind.
It is a very popular thing to do on YouTube. Just use a clone effect to make yourself talk to yourself. And I don't have any shame in stealing it from Wheezy Waiter, and I don't think he would be too bothered.
Everyone does it.
It's so fun.
So did you use like stem cell research to come up with clones?
That and some time travel elements might have been involved.
All right.
Multiple universes.
It all fits in his closet too, apparently.
Wow, that's pretty
You just
crazy.
walk in and walk out, and somebody
Walks
else
in.
comes out after you, right?
Yeah, and I moved it to the new apartment even, and no one was the wiser.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it must look like something else.
What if you left it in your old apartment and that person like accidentally started cloning themselves?
I actually thought of a great joke that I wanted to use after we had moved out, and I was like, if I had just shot that before we left, I could use that closet one more time, but I didn't have access to it anymore.
Well, it's just about time to head to break here, so we're going to do that. When we come back, we'll have more with Shawn. Finding Way Books has been a major supporter of us here at the Lancast, and Melody has a great deal that we'd like to share with you.
Right now, with any purchase of $25 or more, you can get a $5 gift card from a number of different Lancaster businesses.
So make sure you take advantage of this great deal and come on down to Winding Way Books, located at 106 West Chestnut Street in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And we're back on the Lancast with Shawn V Martin. Shawn, you do a podcast with Carter Kalshik. Tell us a little bit about what made you decide to go from video to doing a podcast with a random guy.
Random guy you met on the internet.
Yeah.
It sounds suspicious.
Those sound extremely suspicious.
Find each other in eHarmony for podcasters.
If only there was such a thing.
ePod. We should start one.
Yeah, you should get
I
started
could
on
use
that.
a new partner.
Yeah.
Copyright that. Lock it down. Carter he came with the influx of people from Minecraft videos. He just like stumbled over there with everyone else. And,
You make them sound like they were drunk.
well, so many of them are like, so much of my audience are young teenagers that like, I feel like they must have no idea what they're doing. They're just swimming through YouTube, like watching whatever pops up left or right. But anyway, Carter's almost my age. He's an intelligent young man. And he came over with everyone else, but unlike everyone else, he watched 5 Things. Like, so many of the Minecraft kids probably have never even watched an episode of Five Things. And he started watching it and he was like, why is no one watching the show? It's good and no one's paying any attention to it. So he started commenting, and not just commenting, but leaving like insightful comments and like, I really like this thing. I checked this thing out. I'm not sure why you made this joke here because I didn't think it was that funny or whatever. No, I don't think it was that critical. But one day he posted a video response to a Five Things and I got to see his face and I was like, oh, so that's what this random guy on the internet looks like. And I was like, oh, he's about my age. He seems very smart, very well spoken. And we started talking back and forth just through comments. Then eventually I made a video response to one of his videos. Then he started a little experiment that lasted for like 2 months where he put up a video every day, which is why Dave thought he was a YouTuber, but he calls it an experiment and all those videos are gone now. So if you go looking for them, they're not there. But he put up a vlog every day where he just talked about like, it's kind of what inspired my vlogs. I have over 130 vlogs, all under like 10 minutes where I just ramble about whatever's on my mind. It might just be my schedule, but it might be like my wife's birthday is on Friday is the one that I posted today. And I was watching his videos and I was like, this guy is so funny. We have to do something together. He loved Portal 2, a video game that, it's a puzzle video game and you can play a co-op mode where you both play two characters and you have to work together to solve the puzzles. And he told me, you should buy it and we can do co-op for your video channel. And I was like, oh, great. So we did that and it was so much fun. And it was the first time I had actually like spoken to him. Like,
so it was like your first date.
Yeah. We got on Skype. I sent him some digital flowers. He sent me chocolates and it was so much fun. It was like 2-3 hour sessions. And, after that, I was like, we have a lot of similar tastes. I think we should do a series about movies where we go back and forth, post video responses to each other, talk about different movies that we haven't seen. And he was like, cool, let's do that. We did that one time. And then we were like, we should just make a podcast. Forget this. And then Shawn and Carter Have a Podcast was born.
So
that's what it sounded like.
Did you guys get married first before it was? I was just curious.
I will never speak of it.
Are you paying child support?
Alisha might listen to this. Gotta be careful. When you made the switch to audio, I know that you posted on your channel as well. I mean, why do you post in both places? It's also available on iTunes.
At first, I was posting little snippets on YouTube to try and draw more audience there's so many people who are just like, I don't want to download iTunes. And I was like, wah. Like, the world is running on Apple now. Download iTunes. Sorry. But I started posting snippets on YouTube just to try and sneak peek, like, to draw people over there, like I said. But then I noticed how many hits I was getting on YouTube, and I eventually just I was like, I'll just post in both places. It's not a big problem. So I think I'm actually probably getting half my listenership through iTunes and half of it on YouTube.
Interesting.
Maybe an idea for you guys. I don't know.
I mean, that's true, but I just can't imagine myself sitting down to watch almost 2 hour long video of.
Well, there's nothing to watch.
I guess you're right.
It's just a still image that I put up. I talk to so many people, especially content creators like me, who frequently don't have a lot of time to watch videos, who listen to videos. Like, they're working on something and they'll listen to a video and just put it over there on the side. Shawn and Carter Have a Podcast is the perfect thing for them because they don't have to watch anything. There's nothing to see.
Yeah, I listen to a lot of videos too, I'll be honest.
Sometimes you have to.
I don't really.
You only have so much time.
Sorry.
Keith has 4 kids and a job. He doesn't have time to read his emails. Watch videos.
I read my emails every morning. Unfortunately, you didn't send it to me so that I got it in the morning. Do we have to keep going back to this? I mean,
I feel like I'm in the middle of something here.
Excuse us just a minute.
If I leave, I take the kids with me.
They're not even your kids.
Whatever.
I'm keeping this mic.
So what kind of stuff do you put into the podcast on a weekly basis? Do you have themes or what kind of thing? I mean, it's not anything like what we do. I mean, if for our listeners, the closest thing I think would be to maybe like our guys' night that we did a couple weeks ago, like that might be about the similar kind of pacing.
Every week, since we started, we've had an ongoing film project. I think the first one was we watched every Harry Potter film. So we had a plan where we would be talking about news or whatever was on our mind at the top of the episode, but we always move to something like that at the end. So every episode we've talked about a film at the end. We did Harry Potter, and then I forget what we did immediately after that, but then we did a couple Coen Brothers films. Right now we watched the 5 Marvel films that are prequels to the Avengers. So we did Iron Man and the Hulk and Captain America and Thor. But then the main content of the podcast, and this is something that I let Carter lead a lot more. Cause if you haven't, you've already pointed out, I'm involved in a lot of things. And Carter, as soon as we started the podcast, he was like, I don't know why I wasn't podcasting before. This is clearly what I'm interested in doing. I'm very passionate about this. I was like, good. You can take the lead every week when we get to the stories. So a lot of the stuff is stuff I want to talk about. We always hash it out beforehand, but he'll send me articles throughout the week that are like, here's what Google's doing that's making me mad today, or here's what Apple's doing to get free textbooks to every kid in America today, or whatever. And then when we start the podcast, we do a little bit of follow-up. We check our hashtag SCHP on Twitter to see if anyone had questions we want to answer. Then we start going. We usually have like 2 or 3 big topics that we hit, usually something involved with technology or one of those tech companies or how they're messing up with PR. We talked about Netflix PR for the longest time because Reed Hastings has no idea what he's doing. Then when we get all that out of the way, we move into something fun like talking about a movie or a TV show or something. For a while, we talked about American Horror Story while that was on, but that ended a couple weeks ago now.
That's about where I am in the show, and I'm not one for horror, but I enjoy hearing
there is at least one episode you might want to skip entirely because it's all we talk about.
No, I listen to it.
Oh, you're okay with that?
The thing is, I don't like to watch horror, but I'm interested in the stories. So,
okay.
Like, people see horror movies and I'm like, tell me about it. Because I can handle like the story.
You want the radio play version.
Yeah.
He comes over all the time. We watch like zombie movies and he sits there with his eyes covered and I just commentate. It's okay. He's eating her brains now. Okay.
How is he eating her brains?
Okay, there's a lot of blood on his face, David.
What color's the blood?
Pink, obviously.
Is it gooey or is it rushing down his,
Does he look like he's enjoying himself?
Speaking of zombies, I think your next topic on your podcast should really be about, maybe on our podcast, should really be about, is it going to be a zombie apocalypse or are computers going to take over the world first? I think that's very...
Oh, snap.
Oh, that might be a great intro topic. A couple weeks ago, we debated, and we both agreed wholeheartedly in one, whether it would be better to have the ability of flight or invisibility. Do you have any comments?
I heard this on This American Life.
That's exactly where we took it from. There's a website, Flight or Invisibility, I think it's .com, but it might be .org, that you can go up there and read everyone's thousands of responses that people
There's benefits to both.
Right.
There's benefits to both.
I would choose flight.
See, that means you're a noble person.
See, yeah, right. That's the test.
Does it really?
Yes. Because if you choose invisibility, you're obviously...
You're going to try and like steal and see women naked or something.
Right. But we both agreed that invisibility is the far superior choice.
It is. You're more powerful as invisible.
Are you?
Yes.
Definitely.
Think about it. What does flying really gain you? It's not like you can pick someone up and take them with you.
I'd rather teleport than either.
Well, that's not the option. That's not one of the options.
But yeah, zombie apocalypse or computer or Skynet.
Or Sky, yeah.
That's a good one. That might have to come up. I think our next movie series is actually we're going to watch all 6 Star Wars movies chronologically. So we're going to start with the bad ones and move to the good ones. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I just want to cordially invite myself to be on your show to talk about Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah?
So, make that happen.
Okay.
And I want
our comic book knowledge is...
Let's talk about zombies.
Okay. Yeah. We'll have to do a whole, like...
computers.
Apocalypse episode. Yeah. Apocalypse/superheroes episode. And we'll do a 4-way conversation.
I mean, I love Spider-Man, and I was looking at your...
I hear you got Spider-Man cookies for Valentine's.
I did get Spider-Man cookies
That's
for
great.
Valentine's Day. It was awesome. But I love Spider-Man, and like I don't like to do things out of order, so it was really tough for me because I saw I'm not at the episodes where you talk about the superheroes, because I love Marvel superheroes, and I was just like, do I skip ahead? Or do I listen to them in order? Like, I'm going to be talking to this guy.
I do the same thing. I have to listen to things in order.
I've run into that compulsion myself.
I was like, well, if they talk about Spider-Man, I will just be there, and it'll be creepy. Then I'll have this invisibility, so you won't.
Well, we haven't talked about it yet, so we'll save it for you.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks. I know that you're used to doing videos on a regular basis, but adding another weekly thing on top of that, do you find it difficult to keep your routine? Because for us, the podcast, we might record once a week, but it's kind of a full week ordeal. Like, it takes work from us all week. Attention.
Right.
So how does that work for you with all your other stuff?
I feel like scheduling things has actually helped me, but it's taken time to get there. Like, I set goals for myself that by the end of last year, I really felt it. Like, I was dragging I took a week off at the end of last year from all internet creation materials. I just backed away from everything, got my mind back in the right place. And I feel like it's been 5 weeks. Are we 5 weeks into this year or so?
Something like that.
I feel like the past 5 weeks have been my best 5 weeks creating content for the internet. Like, I've been on schedule, on time with everything that I've wanted to do. I put a Minecraft episode up Monday, Wednesday, put 5 things up on Friday, podcast on Saturday. And last week, Carter wasn't available for the podcast when we finally got there. So I grabbed Alisha and I was like, sit down, 15 minutes, we're going to talk about how sexy Thor is. And she was like, okay.
He's pretty sexy.
And that's what we did. And I was able to maintain that schedule. We liked that movie.
I thought the movie was terrible. He was sexy, though.
Okay, good.
What I wanted to say when he brought up Thor, I was like, Keith's kind of got the Thor beard going on, but then he's like, he's sexy, and I'm like, I don't want to comment. I don't want to call Keith sexy on.
It's okay, you can. I am.
It's not awkward.
No,
it's not awkward at all. It's why can't another man say that another man
That's true.
is sexy and not
especially when I'm talking about your
gay.
beard.
I know. Sure.
That's true. It's a sexy beard, Keith. Keep up the good beard. Where's your beard?
I wish you good beards. I am cursed with the unfortune of not being able to grow facial hair. I mean, it grows here and here. I'm pointing places on my face, but nowhere
That's
in
your
between.
elbow and your shoulder. Like your beard's not supposed to grow.
That's
there.
so great. Just like realize all of a sudden, this is just audio. So I have to.
Now I figured it out. Yeah, I can't grow a beard, so thanks. Thanks for bringing that up.
No problem. Anytime we can rub our superior facial male genes in your face, we will.
Literally in my face.
Try Rogaine. No, I'm just kidding. Then you'll have a burnt and hairless face. Well, Shawn, thanks for being on the show. If someone wanted to learn more about you or see these videos, where could they go to do that?
You can go to youtube.com/Shawn V Martin, SHAWN. That's the way my parents named me. No offense to the other Shawns of the world, of course. And, of course, twitter.com/same thing. Not same thing, Shawn V Martin.
Well, thanks again, Shawn, and we look forward to being on your podcast, which we will hold you to.
Cool, do it.
Penalty of death.
Yeah.
We hope you've been enjoying the Lancast.
This episode was produced by myself, David Moulton, with show notes by Keith and Lauren Slusser.
All pertinent links to this episode can be found in the show notes at thelancast.com.
If you specifically liked this episode, we ask that you consider making a donation.
Every little bit helps. Even $1 a show can keep us going.
If you'd like to help support us, you can do so by going to thelancast.com/donate.
And don't forget to subscribe in iTunes and tell a friend about the show.
So, for the Lancast, I'm David Moulton.
And I'm Keith Slusser.
Asking, are you in the cast?